guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I am going to be trying out, reviewing, and swatching the Natasha Denona Zendo palette. Now, I had said in my resolutions that this was the brand that I was going to try more products of this year, and so far I think I have been doing a good job with that because I already have 3 of her mini palettes thanks to BoxyCharm. And then when I saw this palette, I knew I had to get my hands on it because I thought it was just absolutely gorgeous. I do have this palette on my eyes today, which you guys will be able to see a demo, a try on, whatever you want to call that, of me doing this kind of like summery look with this palette after this little intro. So I'm going to be showing you swatches and things like that first. I'll show you the demo and then I'll have my final thoughts on the palette at the end. So this palette retails for $65 and it's a warm tone palette inspired by the mini Zendo, which, to be honest with you, I went to see the mini Zendo because I love her mini palette. I have like 3 of her mini palettes. This is what they look like if you guys haven't seen them before. And I was like, oh, it's inspired by the mini Zendo. Let me go see what that looks like. I didn't really like the mini Zendo, to be honest with you. I don't know why I didn't really like that color story on that little mini palette, but I definitely did love the color story on this palette. So it has 15 new iconic pressed pigment eyeshadows. It includes hues of pink, brown, coral, and peach with pops of turquoise, and which I love. So basically her whole concept, as I'm reading from the website, it says that it's to conceptualize a mixture of elements, kind of like, this is how she describes it, where wood meets metal and where nature meets modern. So that's definitely the kind of feel you are gonna get from this palette when I show you the colors. It says it's also a mix of elements that conveys peace and tranquility. I definitely agree with that. The names of the palette go along with that, but I definitely do agree that when you open the palette, it kind of gives you this feeling of like serenity and peace and tranquility. I think that the colors were picked, you know, like it was a thoughtful pick of colors, if that makes any sense. All right, so I will be showing you guys the palette, showing you swatches, and kind of describing the shades, how she describes them on the website. So this is what the palette looks like. This is the packaging of the palette. And while, okay, of course you can see everything there. It's like mirrored. So while I do like it, it's like this rose gold kind of, I hate that you get your hands all over this and it's like, it's insane. Like the fingerprints are everywhere. So that drives me a little bit crazy, but that's okay. And then it has this huge mirror here. That's awesome, which I like. And then here are your shades. So this is kind of like your perfect rainbowish, not a real rainbow, but rainbowish color palette. I love the colors in here, guys. These are the swatches for the first row. So we've got the colors Mindful, which is a medium cinnamon. We've got the colors Luster, which is a bronze gold. We have the color Balance, which is a light medium caramel. We have Flow, which is probably one of my favorite because I love the name and I love the blue. So it's a medium silver blue teal is how she describes it. And then we have Mantra, which is a medium greenish teal. All right, so next we have Aura, which she describes as a medium golden orange red. We have Vigor, which is medium muted red coral. We have Relief, which is a light medium pink coral. We have Equilibrium, which is beautiful, and that's a medium dark silver teal. And then we have Breath, which you can hardly see, and this is a pastel mint color. So that is the second row. All right, so over here, we have the last row. I hope you guys can see that well because we have Sense, we have Tranquil, we have Calm, we have Yama, and we have Zeal. So these are all the colors. I'm sorry about this right here. I would have done better swatches, but I didn't plan that. See why you need to be planned? So yeah, guys, those are all the swatches for this palette. It definitely is a really, really beautiful palette. I want to show you guys the look that I came up with. I am going to let you guys know what I have on my eyes. So I went ahead and I started with the color Relief, which is kind of like this pinky, corally kind of color all over the lid into the crease and a little above. Then I went ahead with Calm, which is like a little bit more orangey. So I went ahead and did that kind of like right under it and on the lid. Then I went in with Aura to give it like that nice orangey shimmer all over the lid. Then I did Breath in my inner corner, which is the pastel mint color. I did some of Tranquil on top of Aura. I did Yama in the brow highlight. I didn't put too much of it, but I did put a little bit. And I went in with Flow on my lower lash line, Luster on my lower lash line as well. So I did like all this combination of colors, which gave me a chance to use several of the colors, which I did like. And I do love the look that came out of it. It's definitely a really pretty summery look. So now I'm gonna let you guys see how I came up with this look, and I will give you my final thoughts of the palette at the end. All right, guys, so keep watching. Guys, so makeup is done. This is the final look of the eyes. So I mentioned the colors that I put on my eyes at the very beginning, so I'm not going to mention it again, but it is definitely a nice summery look. I definitely like it. Now, my final thoughts on the palette, at least from this try-on that I did. I am gonna be completely honest, 100% honest. This is where I see that we have a problem in the beauty community on YouTube. People will fall in love with a brand and then there's nothing that you can say because they wanna eat you alive. And that's not the way that things work, okay? So I have to be 100% completely honest with you. And I am the type of person that if I pay a certain amount for something, it has to work wonders. Because if I'm forking out more money than, let's say, a cheaper palette or whatever it is, I'm gonna expect it to work like top of the line. You understand what I'm saying? I know a lot of people argue that certain brands that are higher end have better ingredients and all that stuff. I can completely understand that. But just like just like this palette has a higher price point because of ingredients that it may have that maybe not more affordable palettes have, it also has to work better than the affordable palettes, because there's no reason why it shouldn't. If a brand that's putting out an affordable palette can make shadows work a certain way, then a brand that is costing more money should have the shadows work even better, or at least in the same way. You understand what I'm saying? So this is my honest opinion on this palette. While I do love, absolutely love the colors on this palette, I definitely love the look that I got. I was pretty much kind of frustrated and disappointed when I was working with these colors, because every single color that I worked with, every single one that I used, the payoff was not there. Okay, at least for me, the payoff was not there. When I'm paying $65 for a palette, I expect that when I pick up a color, it's going to be bam. You understand what I'm saying? And it's not because, for example, if I want to argue about the breath color, which is the pastel mint color, okay, it's like, okay, well, it's a color that's lighter, you have to build it up, like, you understand that. But I used all different colors on this palette, and every single one was the same problem. For me, they were very hard to blend. The payoff, like the color, it was like you had to work too hard to get the color. No, like, I was not 100% happy. Like, I do love the color story. I'm so obsessed with this color story that I'm like, oh my God, because I just love the color story. I love it so much. This is like similar to like a dream palette for me, because I love the color story. I love having all these different types of colors. I love like all those shimmers, those rose golds, those blues, like I love them. But if I'm honest with you, like for example, when I was putting Flow on the bottom lash line, that is a color that I'm expecting that's gonna be just absolutely outrageously beautiful, like outrageously beautiful. And I just kept like putting the color in there, and I was kind of like, and you know, like it just wasn't like, for example, even when you swatch it, it's not an insane pigmentation. This was like 2 swatches. It wasn't just one, it was 2 swatches. Okay? Beautiful color, absolutely beautiful. But when you put it on your lower lash line, or I imagine it's the same with the lid, it just wasn't there. Like there was something missing. There was something missing. And of course I'm going to keep the palette. Of course I'm going to keep trying it. Of course I'm going to keep using it and see what's going on. But for me, it was hard to work with. And it did happen with another of her mini palettes that I have here, which I also loved the color story. I was so excited. And it was this one. I did a try on with this mini palette, and I was not that happy, especially with this navy blue color. I don't know, guys, like, now her other mini palette, which I don't know where it is right now. For example, on the contrary to that, this other mini palette, which was, okay, this one's the Jubilee. Her other mini palette, which was the Peak palette, this was the very first one of hers that I tried, and I was obsessed with it. It was this one. Obsessed with it. All the colors worked beautifully. I did this beautiful look with it. They were easy to work with. I don't know if it's just that with her, it's going to be a hit or miss. I'm not sure. That definitely could be the case, that it depends. You know, you could get a hit or you could get a miss with her. In this case, for me, it's not a miss, to be honest with you. It's really not a miss. But it isn't a hit either. And then, you know, I know people get upset if I want to compare, for example, Natasha Denona with my ColourPop Barbie collection. I want you to compare, but in my opinion, I can compare, because ColourPop is like 1/3 of the price or half the price or whatever you want to call it. And the color payoff on ColourPop, the pigmentation, the way that the shadows blend, it's like a dream. There is like no, and it's been with every single thing from ColourPop that has been a shadow that I've tried. The pigmentation is amazing. The blending is amazing. Like the look that I did the other day with my Barbie collection was just out of this world. And then another one is, for example, Makeup Geek. The same thing happens with Makeup Geek shadows. You know, those are the two that are coming off the top of my head that are very affordable brands. And the color payoff, the pigmentation, the way the shadows work is just absolutely amazing. So while I do love this look, I do love the colors of the palette. I'm not going to say that I'm obsessed with this palette. Like, I'm not going to say that I'm 100% happy with it. I feel the shadows needed to have better performance, to be honest with you. If I'm completely honest, the shadows needed to have better performance. Obviously, I'm going to use it. I'm going to work with it. I'm going to use the shadows, and I'm sure I'm going to come up with beautiful looks and the whole 9 yards. But I definitely would have expected better performance from these shadows. Now it comes down to the fact of, do I want to continue purchasing things from Natasha Denona? You know what I mean? Because this was $65. What about if now I purchase, you know, something else and I get, you know, and I already have like 2 palettes that I haven't been too happy with, but I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt because this palette was absolutely amazing. So I don't know, like I'm on the fence now with it. Not on the fence with the entire brand per se, but kind of on the fence. If this has happened to you guys with the Zendo palette or with any other of Natasha palettes, let me know. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one. Sometimes people just don't want to talk about it. They don't want to admit it, or they're so in love with the brand that they just can't find themselves saying anything negative about it. That's not me. Like I'd rather be honest with you guys and let you guys know, you know what? This one was amazing, but this one was not so amazing. You know what I mean? So I would rather like tell you guys, at least in my case, exactly what happened than to just be like blinded by a brand and be like, oh no, like they're perfect. I cannot say anything about these people because that would just be ridiculous. But yeah, I'm being honest with you. I was literally frustrated and disappointed because I was just expecting a lot more because I love the colors. I've seen reviews. My friends love Natasha Denona. I was not 100% satisfied with this palette. All right, guys, so that's it. Those are my honest thoughts on this Natasha Denona Zendo palette. Let me know what you guys think, if you've tried it, if it's worked better for you, if there's something that I should do to make the shadows work better. Let me know. I'm always open to all types of opinions, ideas, or things, or, you know, I'm open to all of that. I love you guys, and I will see you in my next video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye, my loves.